Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be tuning up and repairing this partially brass steam locomotive that I picked up at the Aylmer train show for only 15 Canadian dollars. So I picked this thing up pretty cheap, and it turned out to be a great deal because they said that it didn't work, but the only thing that was wrong with it was the wire from the tender had become disconnected, and it turns out there's this pin that goes into the tender, so I've pulled that out. So for the repair, all we need to do is solder that back on, and we'll be in business. But I also want to clean and lubricate this engine. I don't know when lubricants were last put in it, and they're probably dried out. So hopefully by the end of this video, we'll have this thing running like a clock. Anyway, let's get started. Actually, before we get started, what do you guys think of the new background? It's kind of like the third or fourth generation of SMT background, so I hope you guys like it. Let me know in the comments what you think. Now, on to the repair. So to start off, we're going to take our pin there, and we're just going to clamp it with these pliers. And we're just going to get the old solder off, because I don't know what kind of condition this stuff is in. So we'll just get that off. Okay, so that's good. Now we just need to strip the wire and get a new one for us. So we're going to get a bit of a fresh... Yeah, it looks like this thing might need more repairs than I thought. There's the wire. Okay, well, it looks like we're going to be opening up the locomotive earlier than I thought. Let's get started. So to start, we'll begin by taking off this truck. There must be a screw somewhere inside here that disconnects this from the rest of it, because sometimes with steam locomotives they put the screw here in the smokestack, but there isn't one there in this case, so it must be somewhere else. And now that we've removed that, we can see there's actually a screw behind it. And if I were to take a guess, that would be the one that's holding the whole thing together. So when we remove this, we should be able to take the chassis out. Let's see here. Yep, nice long screw. That's it did give away. And that's really all we need to do. And look, I just noticed something. So whoever assembled this, they did a nice job. So this is a bit of an odd motor, but they put a flywheel on it, so that's good. It will definitely run smoother because of that. So yeah, now we just need to figure out what the wiring situation is. I can already see one goes there, and another I think is supposed to go right here. So we're just gonna nip off the old ends, strip them here. Okay, let's get the soldering iron going. Put a little bit of flux on here and there. Now I just need to find my solder. Alright, so we got the wire reattached, so I figure we can take this pin and just sort of wrap the wire around the end of it. And while we're in here, we'll just add a bit of grease and some oil, and we'll just turn this a few times to get them kind of mixed up well. Add a little more oil to that. Yeah, it should be pretty good. Perfect. Okay, so we've got pretty much everything we need to lubricate on the inside here, lubricated. So we're going to put the shell back on now. There's a few things. First of all, the wire needs to go through this little hole right here. So that's important. So we'll get that through there. Now all we really need to do is just try to get it to kind of lower right over the rest of it. And then we just need to put that long screw back in. We're going to lubricate the bearings and all the other important stuff. Okay, so we've got that all together. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the screws along here, and we're going to lubricate each of the wheel bearings. This is important, obviously, for the locomotive's electrical connections. Okay, so I've got the screws all out. That just lifts right off. There are our wheel bearings. There's a little bit of oil in there already. This is actually pretty well lubricated. We're just going to add a tiny bit more to the front ones. It's not dry either, so yeah, that will be fine really. And then we just have to put that whole piece back on there, and that's all done. Then we have to lubricate all the side rods and everything. With this piece back on, all we need to do now is add on the driving truck there, pilot truck. Now we're just going to lubricate all the other pieces. We're going to lubricate the bearings on both the pilot and the cab truck there. We're just going to put a tiny bit of oil really on all the areas where there's friction. On a model steam locomotive, it's very important that you lubricate the little pieces there that drive in and out of this. If they're not lubricated properly, it will add a lot of resistance to your steam locomotive there, so that really will not help it so much. So I think we've got all the crucial points pretty well lubricated. So yeah, I would say this thing's pretty much ready to go for a test run. Let's see how she runs. In theory, we've got it cleaned, we've got it lubricated, we got the electrical stuff. Oh, I forgot to connect them. Okay, let's test her. Alright, so we've got her all set up on the track, and I have to say it really is a great looking locomotive. I know it's not entirely brass. You can kind of see the whole area up here is genuine brass, but down here, sort of in the piston region, the original owner kind of tried to paint over it to make the whole thing look like it was made out of brass. But I think it's still a great looking locomotive nonetheless. Anyway, we're going to try giving her some power and see if she springs to life. So yeah, I'll just try slowly applying the power here. Wow, what a beauty. Right to life. Uh-oh. Yeah, less than a second of running and we already have to do repairs. Alright, I think we've got that whole ensemble rectified. And with that, I think we've got a pretty good runner. Well, folks, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As you can see, the new locomotive, I think, is already right at home on the display shelf. And we're going to have, I think, quite a few new restorations underway quite soon. The projects table is just packed with locomotives right now. So, yeah, many more restorations to come. Thanks for watching, everyone.